Hey beauties, good afternoon to you. Remember to go to church next Sunday, all right? Don't just watch online, but go. And it's for edification and to build a bond with people. And, yeah, man, that's important. No matter, even though you might have the hypocrites there, pray for them in person. All right, listen to me now. I saw this girl online. She has quite a number of followers. And she gave her review on the Bob Marley's movie a 3 out of 10. Another lady I spoke with, and she told me she gave it 10 out of 10. Wow, what a dichotomy, what a split living. It's a literal night and day. What Okay, let me speak from one of the Jamaican actors. I don't know if he lives in Jamaica, but he was one of the panelists on Dion Jackson Miller's program a few weeks ago. And, that was the same gentleman that stated that people would have asked him to play Bob's role. And he said, no, man, he doesn't want his career to shine or to be under the auspices of a Bob. So he wanted to make his name in and of himself without having to be, have it been, I don't want to use the word stained, have it to be as a result of an icon. And that's a fair point because the icon became an icon, in and of himself, so to speak. Obviously, people would help him, but people behind the scenes. And one of the things is that the one that gave it, he mentioned also that watch the movie for the acting purposes, not so much for the storyline of Bob Marley, what people know of his story for those who are still alive and know what his story is about, know the life that he lived and know him as an individual, but watch it for acting. Are they acting well? Remember that there are many facets to human beings, and you may not see you may not have an encounter with them every time. The best people would be those living with him and predominantly being around him. So you have different facets to you. So you see people, for example, people who work with people may only know people in a work sense. People who go to church with people may only know people in a church sense. People who live with people will only know people in living with them. So you have different facets and areas of people. Perhaps, in fairness to the Marley's family, they wanted to show a side. Whatever they had shown, I have not watched it as yet. In a short moment, when I say short moment, in the coming week, hopefully I should go and watch it. They decided to portray whatever aspect of him. I think I remember this white Jamaican guy was saying that, somebody could have played the Cindy Breakspear roles well. And this is a good way for me to segue into her because I'm told that they really did not. I don't know if they only barely scraped the surface in mentioning her, but she definitely was not even a supporting role. As certainly not the focal point, and certainly, it's as though she was like a passerby, sort of, a wind. It was like gone with the wind. And there are people who are not pleased by that because it eliminated from one of the major realities, especially in hindsight, in some of the songs that I'm told that were sung, that were in relevance to her. I remember her talking, and she had even posted a picture with her kind of hugging up Bob Marley and all of that. And she has also spoken that there's a sense of a camaraderie with her and the wife, and I mean a whole host of things. And she thought, like some Jamaicans, not many, I would use the word some, that was a significant part of his life that should have been highlighted. I can understand why the family would not want. We grew up in a society where we don't, especially in this Western side, where we don't promote polygamy. Polygamy in the sense of, no, not polygamy in the sense of marrying more than one women, but polygamy in the sense of having quite a number of women in a romantic, erotic sense. We don't. It's almost shameful and disgraceful sort of a situation. So it could be a possibility as to why she was not mentioned. Maybe it was a request of the wife, of the children. We just don't know. And in a sense, the family reserved the right to not necessarily bring that up. I understand where you're coming from because one of the biggest, if not the biggest, of the children in terms of performing arts, particularly reggae music, is the one that came from illegitimate source, from Cindy Breakspear and Damian Jr. Gang Marley. You know, he would be the most, seemingly most successful. Perhaps behind him would be Ziggy Marley, perhaps I said, and or Stephen Marley, and so on. And why? It's like sometimes you're on the fence of it. If they didn't show, you know, somebody went and watched it, the 10 out of 10 said, and I asked her as well, and I heard the one who gave 0 out of 10, and both corroborated the story that the Sydney Breakspear really was not mentioned. It's like nothing really. It's, I would say that maybe they could have brought it in because, especially for the fact that Jamaicans are aware of that scenario, so they would have wanted to see it. They go with the expectation of seeing something that is real, that most people know about, if not all Jamaicans know about. So with that reality, you know, the family may have or should have probably considered doing, as I said, you know, looking at the actors and the actresses in Jamaica to play some of these roles. You know, we only know that he has other children outside. Most of them seem to live, whether it's in the United States or England, predominantly England. You'd hear about. You may not know the storyline behind them, but movies a movie. If you're going to show a true story, you have to show, you know, core points of what happened in that person's life. And that is a core point because a child came of it. So I'm told that 2 songs were written in light of the Sydney Breakspear. So with that, 2 popular songs. When I heard one of them, I can see the other one I didn't even know. It was even alleged that he had asked his wife to do the song. I'm like, my God, Business has really gotten the order of the day. It has gotten the order of distinction. If you really did that, I don't know who true I only heard. And I'm not one to really like to go with hearsay, especially if I'm not sure if it's from a credible source. So with that reality, I think they shot themselves in the foot, the Marley family, by not bringing that core situation. Because as I said, a child that is one of the most successful, if not the most successful of the Marley's family, you know, from it, they seem to have had a long standing relationship romantically, you know, in terms of Cindy Breakspear. It's not about promulgating infidelity. It's not about, you know, sending a message, oh, you can be married and have a woman on the side. No, it was his reality. Also remember that I'm told that you what's her name, the wife, has children outside of her husband while she was married, whether they are separated or not, some daughter or so. I don't know if it's child or children, but she had. So, you know, I we have to keep things real for me to allow people to understand the reality of life and some of the mistakes to not necessarily make, you know. Because as I said, I listened to the 2 people who mentioned similar outcome, that, you know, the Cindy Breakspear basically was, just call it like it was omitted. It was basically omitted. So I suppose her watching it probably, not, we don't know the relationship they had. I'm not in support of infidelity, please don't get me wrong, but I'm also speaking from a human perspective. We're humans, we're flesh and blood. You know, she probably said, but boy, it's kind of a fist in the face. Yes, we know we're wrong, but this is what we had. This is a relationship we had. You know, they could have at least had a little storyline of it, even if you don't focus on it heavily. But don't throw it out as though, you know, she didn't exist. But that, you see, that is one of the perks, not in a good sense, that comes with infidelity, unfortunately. So don't expect blessings to flow when you do things that are not right, that are unfortunately immoral. Sorry about that. That's also another side to look at it. The family said, oh, we're not going to portray that. We're going to portray a love story between the 2. We're going to focus. I can understand. You know, I'm not sure how Damien Jr. Gang Marley feels about it, because he's not from the original family. Let's put it that way. He's from the outside. He's like an Ishmael in a sense, you know. It is just an unfortunate situation that this movie has not brought about what they said the movie is about: one love, unity. You know, it still has caused some level of segregation because of the lack of transparency, and the lack of full truth of core things that should have been mentioned. Anyway, guys, we will just see what we shall see. That's the only thing. Follow me on TikTok, subscribe to my YouTube channel, share this message.